it's Rachel here. I've just finished a spot of Sunday morning car witnessing, and I'll just spin my camera around so you can see my car. I hope you can see that. Anyway, I've been sitting here for about 3/4 of an hour, I suppose, and just relaxing in the car and doing a bit of crochet. I will show you what I've done. Not much, but I've been making these little flowers with buttons in the middle, and I'll make them into brooches and hopefully sell them in a market along with other bits and pieces I make. But this is the third time I've been in my car here, and I've parked the car where witnesses have to drive past it. They don't really have much choice to get out onto the main road, and I haven't really been paying much attention as to how many cars come out of the little grove that has the Kingdom Hall on it, but the road has been quite busy, and quite a few people have been looking at the sign. No balloons on it today. Yeah, the message is really, today's message is really aimed at witnesses. You know, if you shun your brother, the question is, will Jesus shun you? So any conscientious witnesses who really believe what the Bible says really would have to think, you know, should I really be shunning that person, you know, that former brother or sister? You know, most of the time witnesses don't really know why, for what reason they must shun somebody. It's only because the elders have disfellowshipped them, so they assume that there must have been some serious wrongdoing and no repentance. However, as in my case, and in the case of many other ex-witnesses, you can be disfellowshipped for just holding to a different view, holding to a different opinion that the governing body does not endorse at this current time, because we know that they chop and change over the years. There's been flip-flopping on some doctrines, you know, returning to a former view that was held. Like, for example, a classic is the question as to whether the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah will be resurrected or not, and that's flip-flop backwards and forwards quite a few times. There's lots of other ones as well. So, you know, if someone has been shunned, I don't think you'd be disfellowshipped over a minor disagreement over whether the resurrection of, you know, those in Sodom would, if you know, disagreed with that. I don't think that would be serious enough. But, you know, for example, if you did not believe that 1914 was a year that Jesus returned invisibly and took up rulership in heaven, that would be enough to get you disfellowshipped for apostasy. But it may very well change in the future. But in the meantime, witnesses are shunning those who have been disfellowshipped for just not being convinced of a teaching. Now, they need to ask themselves, you know, for one thing, is that the way they would like to be treated? You know, the kingly law, or the golden rule, to treat others as you would like to be treated? Would they like to be shunned just for holding to a different view, or failing to be convinced by a teaching? So, you know, if you are a witness and you are turning your back on people, shunning them, and the reason could just be a different opinion, how would you feel if it turned out you were wrong perhaps on your opinion, and Jesus turned his back on you, not because you were wrong, but because you were shunning your brother? So it's a serious matter if you are Bible-believing Christians. So I hope that some witnesses driving past my sign, you know, take it to heart and really think about it, because people's families are being devastated by the shunning policy. There's so many dysfunctional families sitting inside the kingdom halls. You know, there's a member of the family, a relative that they are not talking to. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's so divisive. You know, when Jesus said he came to put a sword between families, he wasn't saying that it was the Christians, his followers, that would be the ones to cause the problem, cause the division. They were to be the peaceable ones, you know. Think of those scriptures where he's talking about, you know, if someone has an unbelieving mate and that they are willing and happy to keep residing with the Christian mate, then let them remain. But no, what the witnesses do is the other way around. They're the ones that wield the sword and drive out and shun. You know, you might think, well, that marriages don't break up, but they certainly do. There's many examples that I've met, many people I've met in the support groups on Facebook, where a wife has kicked her husband out because he's an apostate, because he holds an apostate view. He doesn't agree with the governing body on something, and the marriage soon disintegrates. I mean, how can you have romantic feelings and intimacy with someone that you're taught is an apostate, who is Satan's helper, that he's evil and predatory and manipulative, and, you know, how can you possibly have an intimate relationship and close friendship with someone like that? You know, your spouse is supposed to be your closest friend. So marriages certainly are broken up. And supposed apostate spouses find themselves being shunned, whether they're disfellowshipped or not. So anyway, please think, Jehovah's Witnesses. You know, you might get to that time, that judgment time, and Jesus turns his back on you and says, "Get away from me, I never knew you, you workers of lawlessness." He might say that to you. Anyway, that's enough for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.